What's up, nerds? My name is Lady Pelvic with Pelvic Gaming, and we're going to talk about the greatest JRPG of all time, says every JRPGer ever. When you ask someone what's like the best JRPG ever, this game is sure to come to mind, and that is Final Fantasy VI, which came out April 2nd in 1994 for the SNES. However, I downloaded and played it on the PlayStation 3. If you've been here for a while, this is redundant information. I have played 3 Final Fantasies total, beat 2 of them. I didn't beat 10, didn't really care for it, but I beat 9, and now I beat 6. Enough chatter, and once again, let's go into my non-nostalgic thoughts of Final Fantasy VI. The story opens up with a briefing on the lore of the unnamed world you'll be traversing. 1,000 years ago, there was a great war which ultimately caused magic to go extinct. Now machinery, iron, gunpowder have all been discovered, and technology now reigns. You begin as Terra, a special girl who is naturally gifted with magic, and crowned with a mind-controlling device, thoughtlessly serving under the Empire. You're invading a town in magic armor that was hiding a mythical creature known as an Esper, or known in most Final Fantasies as a summon. The Esper frees Terra of her mind control, causing her to go unconscious and wake up in an old man's home. Without any time to explain, the Empire's at the old man's doorstep. He rushes Terra out and holds back the guards. While Terra escapes through the mine, she has flashbacks of her time in the Empire, specifically Kefka, an immoral clown placing the slave crown on her head, and Emperor Gestal proclaiming the day is at hand where the Empire will take back magic. The game then cuts back to the old man's place where you meet your next faithful companion, Locke, the thief, he prefers treasure hunter. Locke is advised to find Terra and join the underground resistance movement, known as the Returners. And that pretty much sums up the story. You're building up a resistance movement to strike the Empire down. Of course, forces within the Empire, namely Kefka, have bigger plans than just to bring back magic. Just a heads up, in order to properly review this game, I'm gonna need to get into some spoiler territory. I feel it's the only way I can accurately address the scope of this game's brilliance. So the first half of the game takes place in the world of balance. You still have your everyday issues, but society is still functioning normally, at least up until certain points. You're collecting a large cast of characters to join your cause, traveling to the several lively towns and cities, making moves and making connections to take down the Empire. Meanwhile, you get glimpses of what the no-good deeds the Empire is up to, specifically the hilariously colorful villain, Kefka. The journey in Final Fantasy VI is woven well with dark, heart-aching motions and comical moments. A perfect example of this is the infamous villain, Ultros, who I fucking hate with a passion. He often shows up with the intent to kill, but does so comically or is stopped in a whimsical manner. Example, you're in the heat of battle with this reoccurring villain and suddenly a young girl and future party member, Realm, comes along and begs her new uncle, named Uncle Ulti, to draw his portrait. He falls for her cute ways and bashfully accepts, and somehow effectively ends the battle? This game does an excellent job of creating a dark tone, while in some instances simultaneously not taking itself seriously. Make no mistake though, there are plenty of bleak moments where the game does not offer any sort of comforting component. And I personally cherish those moments because I like a little meaningful doom and gloom. And this is an excellent segue into the second half of the game. If you're not interested, because spoilers, feel free to skip to this number right over here. So what makes Final Fantasy VI outstanding is the World of Ruin. The world after Kefka successfully transcends mortality and destroys everything. Instead of continuing as Terra, you play as Celeste, exploring the redesigned world and trying to recollect your friends. A few bits that make this design choice fascinating, mostly that 80% of what there is to do here is entirely optional. You could beat this game without collecting key characters like Terra. The person you thought was the main character. In fact, you could easily miss 3/4 of the playable cast. If you don't explore, you can miss valuable and powerful items, plus cutscenes providing more depth to certain characters. Speaking on characters, in Final Fantasy VI, it has the largest cast to date with 14 of them playable. A common remark is there's no main character, as the game forces you to switch characters so often, simply because characters become unplayable because plot, or splitting your team up. I personally found that choice very frustrating as it sapped away a lot of the joy of playing as some of my favorites in battle. You could argue that the game was forcing you to learn other characters, push you out of your comfort zone. Regardless, I hated it. Another bit, almost everyone's stories are fucking sad, oh my god, but I think certain stories got more love and attention than others, and those are the ones I got invested in. At the very least, everyone's personalities did shine, and the stories did a great job helping the player understand why characters act the way they do, assuming you see the necessary cutscenes, or else you'll be totally lost. Shadow. Now, Cyan is a knight and a family man whose town was overrun by Kefka. He's the only character I absolutely felt for. Spoilers again, click here if you're not interested. Cyan's family and town was poisoned by Kefka, and you see him pick up his dead wife and drag his dead son out of bed. The poor man is traumatized, and throughout the game he is haunted by not being able to protect the people he loves most. He sees the ghost of his family, and later in the world of ruin, he poses as a girl's boyfriend who's actually deceased and writing her love letters to keep her from feeling the same heartache he knows so well. How fucking knightly is that? Then later, find out his heart had some kind of demon in it, keeping him from moving on, and you fight it and it's so awesome. So you have many character side stories like that, and then you have other stories like Setzer. He and his girl loved airships, and one day her airship, the Falcon, crashed. And later he gets the Falcon and takes it from her tomb while having memories of their time together. And it was sad, but not Cyan sad. The way his internal struggle was written and portrayed was just so damn good. Okay, I could talk about the characters forever, but let's move on to the gameplay. Combat using this game's active time battle system. When the character's bar fills up at the bottom, they can perform a move, attack, defend, item, the standard stuff. Now what's interesting is each character has a special ability. Example, Edgar can use tools, which can do a variety of things, like attack all enemies, blind them, etc. Or Celeste's rune ability, which allows her to suck up a magic attack. There are unique raid battles, is what I'm going to call them. You break up into teams and you move them among the map while the enemy is heading in your direction. You could switch up teams anytime you're not in battle, and if an enemy bumps into one of your other characters, a battle starts. The goal is to clear the field of enemies before they reach your side. Where this game really impressed me though was the build your own character. You can equip remnants of espers, or Magicite, in order to gain magic points. Whatever esper you have equipped is what magic points go to, allowing you to learn that magic. But in addition, some espers have a special leveling up bonus. If your character levels up with an esper equipped, you gain +2 to your magic, or vigor, your strength. If you're smart, you'll realize this is more valuable than the magic you learn in the long run. You can build broken characters, and it's great. Let me tell you, my Terra was a straight up battle mage. This mechanic for a game made in 1994 was pretty damn mind-blowing. In fact, I would love to see more of this in gaming. I will say that this game was pretty damn grindy considering all the characters, and you wanted to keep them leveled up, unless you wanted to struggle in the final dungeon. Final Fantasy VI heavily focuses on exploration. If you choose to ignore the unique landmarks, be prepared to miss out on some seriously good stuff. It's times like this where I would recommend a guide so you don't miss out on some awesome character insight as well. This game is filled with charming moments that it's a crime not to go and uncover. The only thing about exploring is the random encounter seems pretty high, but there is an item to turn off random encounters, so explore to find that item and then explore some more. Graphics were outstanding. I love pixel art. Love it, love it, love it. Some people may argue that the new improved look of the mobile remake looks better. I honestly prefer the pixel look. They had great expressions to help convey comedic moments, sad expressions, a KO'd look even blushing. I ship it. All of it was great. Even when you're turned into an imp, they go as far as changing the character art. Genius. Really, I love the extra effort of changing weapons. You saw that during combat. Even the spells for 1994, people, it blew my mind. X-Zone has the coolest effect. The pre-rendered cutscenes, you know, they could use a little work. I mean, again, for when the game came out, sure, it looked good. It was just modern times. Oh my god, no thank you. And if I want to nitpick, I didn't really like the map when you rode the chocobo. The world became, I don't know how to say this, more flat? It's already flat, but more flat. This is a terrible description, I know. But it just made it really confusing to navigate around certain landmarks. But I did actually enjoy riding the chocobo. Plus Plus, the music was awesome. Reminded me of the golden years of Sega Genesis Sonic. And that's a great segue into music. It was pretty good. Not Final Fantasy IX good, but good. I appreciated the character themes, the world themes, specifically the one when you get a new airship. And that's really important since a big part of this game is traveling the world. There's nothing worse than like traveling the world and like the music sucks, you know? Now, I can't discuss the music without touching up on the opera scene, which is both beautiful and frustrating because if you mess up, you gotta do the whole damn thing over again, but specifically the music. It was dazzling. It is certainly a song that has withstood the test of time. I feel if you played this at a nerd ball, everyone would simultaneously have a moment. But the award for Pelvic's favorite song has to go to... Gosh, I do have a thing for villains. Kefka. Listen, hear me out. This song fits him so well. It's a nice, wacky song that becomes chaotic. And that's Kefka. Throughout the game, he's kind of a joke, making stupid comments, but by the bitter end, he's fucking bananas and engulfs the world in pandemonium. So, enjoy Kefka's theme. 9.5. Final Fantasy VI gets a 9.5. Why is it not perfect to you? Well, the pacing was kind of weird. There were times where I was like, oh, you have to go to this guy, talk to this guy, now go over here and talk to this guy. And then there was times where it's like, holy shit, a building's on fire, fucking go in here and save this girl that's in the building. I think a more bigger issue for me is how they snatched characters away from you. Some characters were just unavailable for a certain period of time because story plot, other characters just came and go as they went. Shadow. And while there isn't really anything intrinsically wrong with that or this game in general, it's not my favorite. Like, when people shout Final Fantasy VI, I'm like, okay, but 9. You know, I understand why people kiss this game's ass. 1, nostalgia. 2, it does have everything you want in a great RPG. It has action, it has adventure, it has romance, also has some low-key hentai. I still ship it. It has something for everybody. But yeah, I still stand with Final Fantasy IX before this game. Just because something's popular and everyone likes it doesn't mean I have to like it too. Although I do like Final Fantasy VI, don't get it twisted. I guess a closing note I'm gonna make here is Final Fantasy IX is better than 6. Thank you for watching. Top box are my reviews and the bottom box is my Let's Play channel. I love the shit out of you. Mwah. So before you start angrily typing at me, who is your favorite Final Fantasy villain? You know, I know a lot of people are like Kefka, and I actually really do like Kefka, but I still like Kuja more. Surprise. Let me know in the comments below!